David Tennant. Mainly because he pissed Kemi Badenoch off, and I love.
But if you marched with Tommy Robinson, you're a fucking racist.
Yeah.
By the way, because I've got some Americans in here.
Oh, I've tried to keep the spirits.
You are incoherent. What are you doing bringing Americans in?
I'm drafting Zohran Mamdani.
Oh, really?
I think he's the single best communicator in Western politics right now.
Rejoin the EU.
Rejoin the EU.
Because I cannot obviously I'm the anti-Brexit guy, so you'd expect me to say this, but from an objective standpoint, can you name another policy that is doing the amount of damage to the economy that Brexit is doing?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Politics of Podcast. I'm Ali Milani.
And I'm Zoe Grunewald.
And we have a awesome guest this week, Femi Oluwole. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
I've been following your socials for a long time, man, from the Brexit years to now, the stuff you do on Gaza, on Palestine. How are you holding up? How are things in this mayhem of a country we have these days?
Oh, it's awesome. Especially given that especially as ethnic minorities, we all know what it was like last summer with the riots and the people that defended those riots being the party that's now looking set to be the next government. Mm-hmm. That feels fun as an ethnic minority person in the UK.
Or watching 150,000 people
march in the name of Tommy Robinson, who is a convicted criminal, and he had Elon Musk effectively on stage telling people to fight left-wing people with violence. That's
I do look. We mean you've spoken about those marches a little bit, whether it's on here or on the radio show. So there's been this big call of not calling them racists, and I agree. Look, I don't think everybody on that march obviously was a racist, and nor do I think every Reform voter is a racist. But if you marched with Tommy Robinson, you're a fucking racist.
Yeah, it's that simple.
Is that extreme? Am I being?
I would say so too.
If you march,
I would say so too.
If you hold
but
hand in hand with
politician.
Katie Hopkins and Tommy Robinson, and you march with them, if that's why you were there, you're a racist.
So that's the thing. We might get to the draft when we get to the draft picks later. But Gary Stevenson was recently talking about Gary Economics. He was recently talking about how he doesn't think everybody who was there was racist. I think that's because we have a faulty understanding of what the word racist means. A lot of people seem to think that if somebody calls you racist, it means that you actively wake up every day like ethnic minorities. No,
some people do, but
yeah. It can be as simple as just being willing to support a project that you know will hurt people. I come from a law background. In law, the test for are you guilty of intending certain consequences, it can be either that you actively want it, or that you pursue or you do something where you know that particular outcome is a virtual certainty. And if you support a party that you know is a danger to ethnic minorities, then that is intent, regardless of whether or not it's your explicit aim.
Or whether you're actively don't like ethnic minorities or don't care if they get thrown under the bus as long as you benefit.
This is turning a blind eye to everything that Tommy Robinson is and has said and has done and gone to prison for and all those things, and just saying, yeah, but either that's not who he is anymore or that's not why I'm there. But you must know what marching with him symbolises to those people. Yeah. And I think if you are willing to put that aside, I think that's racist.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing when it comes to sexism and misogyny. If you're willing to vote for the Reform Party when you know that one of their MPs was a convicted woman beat his girlfriend while she lay on the ground, and not just that, so you could they could argue, oh, we happen to have a bad apple who got into the bunch, but you had
they only have 5 apples.
I know, right? But you also have explicit sign-off from the leadership of the party. Richard Tice said it didn't matter that the court said he kicked his girlfriend. And Nigel Farage said it was irrelevant. These are people who objectively, explicitly don't care about the safety of women, and they're willing to disregard the voices of victims. They don't care. So if you support that party, it's inherently sexist.
So talking about parties, we're going to play a fun game this week. That's why we got you, Femi. We're calling this the ultimate political draft. So here's the game for everybody watching as well. What I've asked you guys to do is we're imagining we're starting a new party, right? And this is we're just wiping the slate clean. So it's not about Labour, Reform, Conservative. We don't actually really care about the other parties. It's just a game to get us a sense of who we like, what ideas we like. So what I've asked Zoe and Femi, and I've done myself to do, is to come with a name for a party, colours because Labour's red, Tories are green. Tories are blue, Greens are green, obviously. 5 politicians who are going to lead this new party, but they don't have to be politicians. You can pick celebrities, journalists, unknown people, that sort of stuff. And then 2 mainstream ideas. and we're gonna see which one of our three parties the people like the most, and we'll put it to a vote and see who's
I
won.
didn't know there was a competition.
There's also another rule, which I don't know if you guys, I didn't text you guys, but if someone picks your person before you go, we're gonna do it in rounds. You can't then pick them. So if you've only come with 5, you're gonna have to think on your feet a little bit, because I think we're gonna take some of each other's. And
Okay, I'm
don't
sure
look at my
there's
shit.
going to be crossover. Yeah.
Don't look at my shit. And I really want to win this. I want you guys to know, right?
Well, you have an advantage since you know how this game works, and me and Femi don't.
That's true.
So
That's
you
true.
may well win.
We'll see. So we'll start with names and colors. Okay. And we're gonna do a nice graphic. You've actually, I can't actually see what anything is on there. Femi, what's your party name?
It's technically not plagiarism because Gina Miller's party was called the True and Fair Party. I want to call mine the Fair Party.
The Fair Party.
Because ultimately we're talking about equality being the fundamental problem, financial inequality, racial inequality, gender inequality.
Yeah.
The Fair Party sounds like the way to go.
And so what did you guys do when coming up with it, out of curiosity? So I'll tell you what I did. I was sat in the barbershop today and I just Googled like political party. Now there's a Wikipedia page of like every country. So I was going through like Belarus and the political parties.
Wait,
that
that's
exist
what
there.
you want for political inspiration? Belarus.
That's the first country that I remember. In fact, I think I might have nicked my name from Belarus, but you'll see. So we've gone Fairness Party,
The Fair Party.
Fair Party. What's your colours?
I'm thinking black and yellow.
Black and yellow. Oh, you got 2 colours.
A color scheme would be black and yellow.
black
Just
and
because
yellow.
like all the other colors seem to be more or less been taken.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
UKIP was done purple.
So
yeah.
you say that, I've gone with purple, even though UKIP has gone with. The reason I went with purple was I thought, oh, you know what, red and blue together make purple, and it's very bright, and I don't think UKIP has that much brand identity anymore.
Not anymore. True.
Right?
True,
Is
true,
yours
true.
a combination of Labour and Conservative?
No. I just thought red and blue is just like common political colours. So
Right.
bringing them
And
together.
so you're going for
Zoe,
purple?
I'm bringing the country together.
Oh, nice. What's yours called?
My party is called the New Deal Party,
Okay.
and it'll make more sense when I talk about my policy platform.
Okay.
Is it to do with the green?
The Green New Deal's
Yeah,
in there.
okay.
Yeah. But I guess I'll talk about it now. One of the things I think is missing from our politics is big ideas. So if you actually think of things like the NHS was a big radical idea that someone had and ran on and won on and implemented, right? The economic New Deal that America had was a big idea. It just feels like politics doesn't have big ideas anymore. Like even when people run on change, so Keir Starmer ran on change, but there was nothing in the manifesto that you go, that is like a generational thing that you can point back to and go, we did that.
Yeah.
Right? In fact, it feels to me like we actively discourage big ideas. Like I remember when John McDonnell presented in 2019, for whatever you think of the manifesto, this idea of free broadband, right? And that's not that big of an idea, but instantly shat on as this like unworkable, unachievable. It just feels like the media and politics wants you to just tinker around the edges.
Yeah.
And I want this party to be about big, bold ideas. We're going to make like generational change.
But it's the two-party system, which I will talk about a lot about, is a huge part of why that doesn't happen, especially because we have that it's either going to be the left-wing party or the right-wing party, and they're going to be in power for 5 years, and then everything's going to change. So that notion of being able to set in place a long project that's going to last 10, 15 years just doesn't work with our system.
Yeah. So the Fair Party, the New Deal.
Mine's called the Good Life Party.
The good. We've been doing this a long time. I know exactly what's
where
in
this
here.
is
I know
going.
exactly what's in here.
My party is all about moving politics away from a system that is focused on the economy and GDP and growth to a system that focuses on voters' well-being and happiness. I think politicians have become obsessed with misery.
Yeah.
Everything is, no, we've got to go through this ridiculously horrible, boring thing where you're all going to get way worse off, but that's what we've got to do to keep the system going. I think the focus is all wrong. I want to create a political party that is talking about improving people's well-being, and that would see a strong state with good institutions, high trust, but also a government that values happiness, like arts and culture and community spaces and libraries.
We're actually one of the most unhappy countries in Europe.
We are.
Yeah.
And we're getting worse and worse, more and more miserable.
But you know what's interesting? I don't think anyone cares. I've never heard happiness brought up in the chamber. I don't think anyone does. Have you ever heard happiness really become
No,
like
they don't.
Under
they don't
David
care.
Cameron,
really?
it was. They decided to implement well-being as a measure of in the Treasury. So when they were looking at policy, something Keir Starmer also talked about in 2019, again, just disappears. It just disappears.
Something Keir Starmer said.
Yeah,
Then
Keir
disappeared.
Starmer said something
Very
about
out of character.
for
Keir Starmer.
every pound that was spent at the Treasury, a portion of it we would be making sure it worked for people's well-being as well.
Oh right.
Never
So
heard of it again.
We've gone the Fair Party, New Deal,
The
and
Good
Good
Life.
Life.
And you're bang on with this community spaces thing, because like Vienna is, I've lived there. It was like, it's known for the best quality of life happiness rating in the world. And one of the most things that you notice there is there's so many spaces that you can be and chill for free.
So talk to us about this. Why do these Scandinavians? Why are they so happy? And why are we so miserable?
Well, in there, it's that, like, there are so many things that you could do. Like there was a
That doesn't cost money.
That doesn't cost money. Like
Yeah.
you can just chill there. Like there's this massive place nearby with lots of, like, yes, there is stuff you can buy, but like also the river you can swim in. It's just It was just like the city was designed to be happy. Like the basketball courts everywhere.
I tell you what, I just went to see some friends in Amsterdam. Right, one of my mates moved to Amsterdam, and a bunch of us went to see him because he's moved out there. And it was like, and we just went to the library, and it's got this rooftop bit where you can just sit, and we were playing like Monopoly Deal, the card game.
Yeah.
No one came asking us for money. It was just a space. It was open till like midnight. You just chill for free.
Yeah.
So if you look at I'm going to talk a lot about Finland, because Finland is consistently the happiest country in the world. It marks
Does it
highest
exist,
for, and it does exist. It marks highest for life satisfaction. And I'll talk a bit about the comparisons to Finland when we get into it. But if you look at how the UK slid down life satisfaction levels, so this is the global happiness index that is created every year, and it's a big global project. We have consistently slid down the rating since 2010. Basically since the implementation of austerity. And if you look at what Finland has and why it has a strong welfare state and people trust its institutions. So ministers, if they get stuff wrong, they resign straight away. Imagine that. They don't just stick around, they go. They have a good welfare state, they have good schools, they have good social housing. Basically, the Finnish government thinks its job is to remove sources of unhappiness and instability from people's lives.
Yeah, you said this to me recently, and I don't know if you've thought about this, but it was kind of like a shit moment. I didn't realize. When was the last time a minister in this country resigned for doing the job badly, not for a scandal?
Yeah, they just cling on.
Yeah.
And I think what is really, really important about the Finnish model and what we can learn from it is that if you strip away the state and you remove people's sources of security, people get unhappier because they are more stressed, they're more worried, they can't put down roots, they can't afford things, they're working harder for less. You can literally see the correlation between austerity and people getting more and more unhappy. So yes, mine would be about well-being and happiness, but it would fundamentally also be a socially progressive left-wing country that looks after people.
I think we've all gone for like
I didn't think anyone was going to come with a
Yeah.
pure ethno state, for example.
It would have been a good exercise.
It's all the rage these days.
Right. Do we want to do the politicians next or the platform? I think go politicians first and do platforms last, because that's the bit we're going to have most debate.
But do we need the platform to talk about why we've chosen the politicians properly? Oh,
yeah.
do you mean the policies?
The policies, because I said come with two, but you both. Okay, let's do policies first.
I think policies.
Give us your first sort of headline policy.
Headline policy is, can I do 3?
Yeah, I want to do 3 as well.
I've only done 2, but I'll come up with 3 by
Okay.
the third time. Go on.
So
We'll do 1-1-1, and then we'll do another.
I'll go with the least predictable one that I'd come up with, which is mandatory anonymous CVs.
Okay, talk to us about that. So this is where you don't have names on CV.
No names on any job unless it's absolutely necessary. The employer sees the absolute minimum, because like Oxford University did a study where they sent out 3,200 job applications to various sectors of the UK economy, and they found that if you have a South Asian sounding name, you have to send 70% more applications to get a call back. If you have a West African sounding name, you have to send 80%. Middle Eastern is 90%.
Oh my lord, I didn't know that.
Which means that objectively, in terms of your ability to get a job, which means your ability to make money, which means your access to a higher quality of life in the UK mathematically passes through a filter of racism at between the 70 and 90 percentile. So if you were to get rid of that, it would significantly balance the scales.
Does anyone do anonymous CVs? Any company?
The civil service fast stream, they have their own problems with diversity, don't get me wrong, but they do have a blind application process where they cannot see where you went to school, what your name was, what your gender was, what your race, sex. They will know because you'll tick on the form if you have a disability, I think, although I might have to check that. But I'm pretty sure the application process for the civil service is blind up until the assessment centre, where they then see you face to face.
Yeah.
But of course, they have their own diversity problems, not least the fact that, only often Russell Group universities will promote the civil service fast stream and stuff as well. So you have your own issues there, but they do try and make it blind to counter for that.
Yeah.
As far as I'm aware.
And it won't just deal with issues of race. It will also, to a certain extent,
Gender
address
as well.
issues of gender,
Yeah.
issues of class, because you won't see what school somebody went to. Because obviously we know that there'll be many employers that will prioritize private schools if they like the name of the school, that sort of stuff. I think that will be, and also it's a good way to actually unite the struggles, because often people will see you trying to do an anti-racism policy and they'll call it DEI or whatever. But if you say no, this will affect everybody across the board, you will know somebody who will benefit from this. So I think that would be
Zoe, headline policy.
This is not going to surprise you either.
Yeah.
4-day working week.
Okay. Talk to us about it.
Okay, 32-hour standard week over 5 years, phase it in, maintaining pay. So it can be that some companies can do it so everyone gets Friday off. Some companies can do it so you choose which day you get off. Some companies can do it so you can cap your hours, whatever. 4-day working week. This is something that some countries already around the world have started to implement.
Was it Finland or Norway?
I think Finland, but let me check. I say I know so much about Finland, but I would have to check that. But I mean, here in the UK, we did a trial, right, to see how it works. So that there were several companies that tried it out in 2023. It was a big pilot. They just found across the board, it just made things better for employees. 71% of employees reported lower burnout. 92% of companies kept the change permanently because they saw it benefited them. Working fewer hours with higher well-being obviously increases productivity. Workers were happier, they worked harder, they stayed in the company for longer. They saw their profits go up, these companies as well. It worked all around the board. Yes, it made people happier and it made their lives better. But if we also want to introduce the economic argument, and remember, we always have to convince the markets.
Yeah.
It does create a more productive economy.
I think the arguments against a 4-day working week always sound very similar to the arguments that existed against the minimum wage. Where it was mostly companies that were saying this is going to hurt growth, this is going to hurt productivity, and it didn't do any of those things.
But I think there's also a cultural thing, which is that we are just a country that's obsessed, and it's an internalization of like neoliberal capitalism, isn't it? We don't really value unpaid labour. We don't really value, parents, people looking after elderly relatives, community service, volunteering, all those things that people do. We value people going into an office or going to their jobs or whatever it is for 5 days a week and burning and working way over what they're paid, not getting paid for the hours they do. We see that as their moral value. And you see it in the way we talk about disabled people or people on benefits, people on welfare. It's like it's somehow cheating the system because they're not all bought into this fact that you have to just needlessly grind. So you make the person at the top loads and loads of money.
Links to the name of your party.
Yeah.
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 So maybe it made sense that we went this way around. All right, I'm doing my first big one is universal basic services. So this is the idea that across society and communities, the basic services that someone needs to live, to thrive, and to work are made free across the board. So we're talking free local transport. So essentially the tube, the buses, the rails, all this kind of stuff would be immediately made free and paid through taxation. We'll talk about taxation later on. Healthcare is and continues to be free, but that would also include dental care that we don't have, mental health care that isn't anywhere near sufficient. Access to broadband, so every home would have access to fast and reliable internet available for free, which sent people into meltdown, which is why I talked about John McDonnell earlier as well. I don't think you can separate in today's world access to community, economy, and work without having access to internet. In fact, we have one of the lowest connectivity rates of like higher economic countries in the world. I realized this when I went to Japan, how good their connectivity was on rail and stuff, and like in the house compared to us. Access to democracy is a big part of it. So I think you should be have sufficient resources placed if you're going to run in elections. Often, if you're going to run elections, you have to put money forward, or at least take time off of work and get childcare and stuff like that. That locks people out. And then things like libraries, free libraries, and books and things like that. So the basic services paid through taxation would be free. And there have been numerous studies, including things that the new economics foundations that people can look at, that it would be one of the single biggest drivers of productivity, single biggest reducers of inequality, because the amount you have to pay for basic services hurts working class communities and poorer communities the most. And it could be one of the single biggest drivers in redistribution of wealth without directly putting money back into people's pockets.
I like your policy. I do think it's technically 6 policies.
No, it's one.
into one
It's called
policy,
universal
so I
basic
wonder if you're
services.
cheating a bit.
That's not cheating.
Yeah, I'm sat here thinking I could have.
You're not gonna strike this down.
My number 1 policy is make the country better.
There we go.
I do it.
Look, we can just do. Why don't we just do? I'll say, okay, well, let's do this. Free universal basic services is free local transport, broadband, and access to democracy.
I like that.
So I've cut out the libraries and books because you hate libraries and books.
No.
Okay, we'll go the other way around.
Okay.
Zoe, do your second one.
Okay.
I have to keep us to time, by the way, because otherwise we'll be here all day.
So I said how the 4-day working week improves people's health, well-being, etc. But I think also you need to look at the fundamentals, and you need to look at one of the main drivers of people feeling unhappy and insecure, and that's housing. So I would want to see a mass council house building.
Oh, you were so close to get it. I was shitting myself because I only had 2 and I thought you were going to take one. But, yeah.
I think we would want a decade-long program and it's very ambitious, but I think we should look to build 200,000 council homes a year. In the last 10
over
years,
10 years, so that's 2 million.
Yeah, 2 million council homes. Social rent homes, because they are the real solution. You need affordable housing because you need rents to be linked to local income. You need secure tenancies. You need people to feel like they can stay somewhere, put roots down, and they're not suddenly going to have the rug ripped from underneath them. If you look at the causes of instability and insecurity in this country at the minute, a lot of it is housing. Young people not being able to put down roots, older people who are renting, not being able to settle. And of course, then if you get evicted from your home, suddenly everything's far more expensive than when you first got put in there. So I think the fundamental basis of what my party would do is, yes, I'd want it to be a party that prioritises well-being and looks at happiness as a social necessity, but you need those fundamentals. You need a strong state, and I think having good affordable housing is the key.
Yeah, I think I read it. I think it might have been Shelter did a report that said we need to build 1 million council houses just to catch up with the lack that we built over the Conservatives' years, just to get to neutral, let alone what we'll need for the future, right?
Yeah, I mean, selling off, all those council houses under right to buy was just a disaster. We didn't rebuild them, and now what we have is all these people crammed into the private rental sector, which just isn't properly regulated.
Okay, I'm gonna go next. We do have to move quite quickly. Mine's also the same on housing, but a different policy. A national rent control scheme. So I would say, particularly in the metropolitan cities, I haven't fully thought this one through, but the principle people will get. I think, particularly in places like London, Manchester, Leeds, Birmingham, all the big cities where there is a particular crunch on housing, though it exists everywhere, obviously. So if you're rural, don't at me. That a proportion of both private and public housing that's provided should be capped at 30% the average income of the city. So you're legally not allowed to have your rent be above the 30% the average income of the country. So wide-scale rent controls across.
Fundamentally agree. I'm more extreme on housing.
Yeah.
I think that the government should basically tax any...
Is this your...
No.
Okay,
I would
just
add
on
to
this,
that, yeah. I would say the government should tax the notion of having multiple properties into non-existence.
Yeah.
So landlords just basically over the next 3 years simply vanish.
So you wouldn't ban it, but you would create the conditions where it becomes near impossible to do it because it doesn't make economic sense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To the point that all homes basically either are owned by people that live in them or they are council houses.
Yeah. Well, the way I looked at this is like, I know people in London particularly and Manchester who are paying 50, 60, 70% of their wages a month on housing. That makes no sense. It shouldn't be more than 30%. Like your accommodation should not be more than 30% of your income, because then you can spend a further 30% on bills and income, and then you can save 30%.
It would also help building more affordable housing.
It would. That's not. I don't actually have a third one. Femi, second.
It is proportional representation. So right now,
that's what I was going to go with that one. I haven't thought.
So right now in the UK, the majority of votes don't count, which means that the UK is objectively not a democracy. In every single election, a party with a minority of the vote gets majority of the seats in Parliament. So most votes don't have any effect. And that has a number of effects, not just meaning the fact that we've had governments that are more right-leaning than the actual people in almost every single election since the Second World War, because the Labour, the Greens, the Lib Dems and the SNP have had the majority of the votes in every election other than 3 since World War II, and yet the Tories have been in power for 2/3 of that time. So we get governments that are more right-wing than the people. It also means that people are forced to vote tactically, because it's more about voting for parties that you don't, voting to make sure another party doesn't get in rather than one that you do, which means that you go into it and vote for a party that you don't like, which means that people leave the voting booth already disappointed with their vote before the party's even taken power. It also makes us, as it currently stands, much more angry with each other and less able to have proper dialogue, because if only one party can win, then that means that anybody with an even slightly different point of view to you is an existential threat to your ideology.
Yeah, I've also the UK is such a weird place when you think about the democracy, because it's the only I've campaigned in and been and observed elections in America and Europe and other places. And the UK is the only place where people are explicitly told, if you don't vote my way, you're responsible for that other person getting in power. It's like you're like emotionally bullied into voting for a party.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, the big argument for first past the post was that it creates stable governance.
Yeah.
And I think we can just see
That's gone out the window.
that just isn't the case.
I mean, Labour won almost 2/3 of Parliament with 33.
62% of the seats off 34% of the votes.
Do you think it would also help with that thing that you were talking about earlier, which is that it would allow politicians to have more long-sighted policy platforms?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Because the general political persuasion of the UK doesn't shift that much. We're broadly speaking centre-left, and so if all we get in terms of the actual change in the elections is a general tweak one direction or the other, you could have long-term plans.
And if you've committed, for example, to building HS2, say you did have a party enter government. Well, they'd have a huge, who didn't want HS2 anymore, they'd have a huge mountain to climb to try and get all those other politicians to amend it. Yeah.
I'm going to throw you the common, I think it's a pretty ludicrous argument against it, but people would say under that system, the BNP and Tommy Robinson and others would be in Parliament.
Good. Because if we are the sort of country where 14% of the country is that's who we should be in Parliament.
It is a pretty ludicrous argument that I don't like the results of the election. Give us your next one, your third one.
The next one is rejoin the EU.
Rejoin the EU.
Because I cannot obviously I'm the anti-Brexit guy, so you'd expect me to say this, but from an objective standpoint, can you name another policy that is doing the amount of damage to the economy that Brexit is doing? Like, according to the OBR, the Office of Budget Responsibility, the official economists of the government, is costing 4% of our economy, an equivalent of £100 billion a year, taking £40 billion off the government tax revenue. That's £40 billion that could be spent on schools, on benefits, and all the things that they were seeing them cut now wouldn't need to be, or they wouldn't have the argument for needing to cut those things if we were still in the EU. So anybody who isn't saying we need to rejoin the single market and customs union, at least that, even if it takes longer to join the EU officially, anybody who isn't saying that isn't serious about addressing the cost of living crisis.
You know who said this recently? Party conference. Andy Burnham.
Yeah.
First time I've heard Brexit kind of brought up by a major political leader in a long time. But I don't think he said rejoin, but he definitely said we need to have the conversation about closer ties to the EU.
I mean, the Lib Dems are saying it all the time.
Who cares what the Lib Dems say? Zoe, I'm going to go to you because I'm trying to pick between two.
Mine's just a short, extra fun one, but I would have a sort of a joy dividend. I would like to tax, I don't know, maybe the banks, maybe the tech companies, or maybe like a land value capture thing, maybe a cultural national lottery where all the profits go into a little bank and it's going into rejuvenating community spaces, creating these like community joy zones. So you'd have cafes, co-working, cultural spaces, libraries.
Your party's so coherent. Your actual platform makes so much sense. Mine's all over the place.
I just think if we look at the rise of reform, I think you can see that in areas where the community has been decimated by austerity, the closure of public services, the destruction of industry there, you can really just link that to people feeling so angry and people going home, and there was a report from I think it was from the IPPR on this, people, instead of going to their pubs or their community spaces, which have now shut down, they're at home, they're online, they're reading and digesting this misinformation that is circulating on X, and then they are going out and trashing up their community. That is what happens when you don't have money and time and joy invested in communities. And I think it's really important if we want to fight the far right, but also if we just want to make people happy, which it can be a political end in itself. It can be a reason to govern. In fact, a lot of historic philosophers actually did say the whole point of government was to improve people's lives and make them happier. So for me, a little tax, a little joy tax.
Joy tax. Yeah. So I'm trying to decide between two because I didn't have a third one planned. It's either Leveson 2, so a new bill on media monopolies and the behaviour of mainstream media, because obviously in a well-informed democracy, you spoke about PR, a well-informed electorate is pivotal to a democracy. Or scrapping VAR in football. So it's, and I tell you what,
I think that's totally coherent.
And I'm going to go with scrapping VAR.
You had the opportunity to help literally millions of people,
but I went to.
These are tough choices.
If you want to talk about,
we have to make them.
If you want to talk about happiness, nothing is causing misery amongst them. So I'm going to go with scrapping VAR. Okay. So we've got the Fair Party with rejoin the EU. PR, proportional representation,
and blind CVs.
And blind CVs. We've got
the Good Life Party with a 4-day working week, mass council house programme, and a joy dividend.
And we've got the New Deal with universal basic services, rent controls, and scrapping VAR. So we're gonna line up our dream team of politicians to go out and sell this to the country and implement it. Okay. In the next election, we'll sit and we're going to ask the viewers who out of our three parties. I've fucked it with scrapping VAR. Which of our parties is going to win the next general election? Zoe, give us your first politician. And remember, if someone says yours, you then have to.
Okay, I'm taking Angela Rayner.
She wasn't on my list, so you can have Angela.
I'm taking her because she is the champion of workers' rights. She knows the unions. I need her to lead the rollout of the 4-day week. I absolutely need her there. I need her unleashed, unchained from Keir Starmer's rightward shift, and I need to properly championing the union movement.
Go ahead.
So, because obviously right now she's had some issues with the unions, would you put that down to the fact that her hands have been tied by Keir Starmer?
I think so. I mean, I think it feels maybe a little bit reductive. I don't know the goings on there, but I think it was really hard with this government that was so focused on also placating business because they're constantly going for growth to really lead the rollout of the Workers' Bill of Rights, and obviously also all the stuff that's going on with the councils as well. They didn't want to invest that money and that time into those discussions. So I'm hoping Angela Rayner Unchained,
Unchained
would,
and Angela
would
Rayner
lead my 4-day week.
You could argue that you can defend Angela Rayner on the back that she's been hands tied by Keir Starmer. But the general notion of going for growth is never an excuse you can give to the Labour Party, given that they're still doing what they're doing on Brexit. Anybody who's serious about growth would be actually undoing Brexit with full speed. So,
which is why this whole thing is preposterous, right? Because going for growth, I mean, as you say, they're not going to get it.
Did you hear growth said once at party conference? By the way, Labour Party conference.
What was growth?
Growth. I didn't hear it at all. Like it's disappeared.
I think because
like the last party,
they can't do it.
But last party conference, like literally, I felt like they were going to pin me down and tattoo it on my forehead, and I barely heard it this time.
But here's the thing that really pisses me off, because they're having to make these tough choices and cutting stuff and placating business when they could have achieved the stuff they could have placated business by saying we'll rejoin the single market. We'll make it so that anything you make here can be sold in 30 other countries in Europe. But they're not doing that, and as a result, they're tying their hands, and they're ending up doing things like like the national insurance thing, which they said this will make wage growth slow down. Like there's stuff they could do, they're just not doing it.
It's like the massive elephant in the room, isn't it? Like nobody wants to talk about Brexit.
Also, we talk about party conference. Angela Rayner was still very popular in the Labour Party. I was surprised. Like people love her.
Wes Streeting was saying, "I want her back."
Well, he's done that. He's done that with. There's a political strategy. Okay, we're gonna move quickly because we're short on time. Who am I going to go with? Have you guys all gone for Brits, by the way? Because I've got some Americans in here.
I've tried to give this Brits.
You are incoherent. Why are you doing bringing Americans in?
I'm drafting Zohran Mamdani.
Oh, really?
I think he's the single best communicator in Western politics right now.
Okay, but don't you want him in the US?
No, I want him here.
tempering
Nah, fuck the
the
US.
rising tide of fascism there.
Nah, fuck him. Let him go fascist.
Okay,
I want.
because your next policy is sever all
Yeah,
ties
sever all ties.
and steal.
Look, I think Zohran
From Dali.
is an amazing politician in terms of he has done some really radical stuff with organizing in America and the way that his team are like being led by him, like innovating the way you're doing campaigning. I think he's an amazing communicator. I think he's revolutionized the way social media is being used. One of the simple, I just love the fact that he's always smiling, right? And he presents like an exciting, happy. I think he's the most exciting politician I've seen since Obama. Before Obama'd. What's your first one?
Oh, okay. So these are gonna be some of these. I wasn't sure of them when I was coming in, but I was like, all right, I know the roughly ones I want to think of. One of them would be Daniel Sloss.
Well, I didn't expect that. Go ahead. Yeah.
Just because I think he's somebody that will kill this notion of the left being snowflakes and you can't talk about certain topics, because he makes jokes about literally everything, but he always comes at it from a left-wing progressive standpoint. He deals with the most severe and really sensitive topics, but does it in a way that says, all right, these are my actual values. And I think that will kill that notion on the right of the left is censoring free speech. I think he's critical to have.
Do I not know this man?
What do you mean?
Will I know him? Daniel Sloss. I'm looking him up. I don't recognise him.
Think just really dark humor,
Okay.
but really progressive.
I do
with it.
agree. We need someone like that.
It also feels like the mood is kind of changed from like there was a period where everybody was really like encamped in their position and like really quite sensitive.
We were
about
obsessed with moral. The left was obsessed with moral purity.
Yeah, and it feels like we moved past that,
and wanting
right?
to win the argument from a moral perspective.
Yeah.
But then when we realised the right are just happy to fling shit and get their hands dirty, I think there's a realisation now that let's stop policing each other because we've let the common enemy rise.
Yeah. Okay.
Basically.
Agreed.
Give us your second one.
Second one would be I'm going to say it, Zach Polanski.
Okay.
Because I think right now, with the biggest, say weakness, the biggest accusation that's made against everybody that wants to free Palestine is that we're anti-Semitic. Having somebody as powerful as him with a Jewish background making the case is going to be critical. And I think it's the best way to unite around this issue.
It's got them consistently in double digits now, you know.
He's doing very, very
between
well.
Between 10 to 13%.
I'm increasingly impressed with him.
Yeah, we've had him on the show, and I thought he was really, really good. I'll go next. Which one should I pick? It's another non-Brit. No, I'm not. I'm gonna go with Dawn Butler.
Okay.
Oh, that was one of mine.
Me and Dawn's politics aren't all the same, right? I'm probably further to the left than she is. But I think British politics is, and you'll see this from my list actually, desperately lacking charisma, spark, personality. She's smart, right? Like, she's one of the first black women to be elected. She takes the fight on racism in a much more forthright way than I think a lot of people who are scared to.
And she's one of the first people to just tell Boris Johnson you're a fucking liar.
Yeah. Or in Parliament.
Yeah.
Did she get kicked out of?
She got kicked out of Parliament for calling him a liar, and then Parliament decided officially, yes, Boris Johnson did mislead the country. So she is the most vindicated person in Parliament.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with Dawn. Who's your first one? We need to move quicker.
I'm going to go for Grace Blakely.
I like Grace.
Because I need somebody who is a great orator when it comes to the left-wing economic argument for why capitalism in its current form has failed and how we can create a new model that doesn't just look at growth and is willing to take on tech companies and big finance and monopolies and design a fairer economy. And I think she's very good at explaining all of that in a way that I would need to put forward my happiness over GDP vision.
She's also a good communicator, right?
Yeah.
You're not sold on Grace?
95%. But she does suffer from the problem that existed in the supposed left during the Brexit years under Corbyn. Like, I remember having to have an argument with her.
The Lexit question.
The Lexit, yeah. I remember having to have an argument with her on BBC Radio 2 where she was actually defending no deal Brexit. So defending the
notion... I don't want to open that discussion because we don't have enough time. I nearly got pulled in by Lexit, you know. I was very close to voting.
No, but that's the thing.
I am now the furthest thing away from Lexit, and I didn't vote to leave. I voted to remain, obviously.
This is the thing. I get it. Like, if you didn't study EU law and you see that 350 million pounds on a bus going to the EU, you think, well, if we're not getting it from the EU, why would we spend that money there?
For me as well, it was at the time, it was like the democratic deficits that existed, but that democratic deficits exist in every system, and there's more in our system than there was in the European Union.
Yeah, they do PR. They have representation.
I think with I see what you mean. I think with her new enemy, which is tech and big business and these kind of oligopolies, I would like her on side.
Yeah. Okay, give us the next one.
I'm gonna go for Louis Theroux.
All right. Ran into him recently.
I would make him like a part of a task force on improving happiness and rebuilding trust.
Louis Theroux is such
I just think he's
one.
got his finger on the pulse. I think people trust him. I think people like him, and I would like him to look objectively at mental health care, loneliness reduction, and sort of compassion-led policy. Yeah. I just think he'd be a good figurehead for like a commission or something.
Yeah.
Or a national inquiry.
Yeah. I like that. Not dissimilar. I would go Gary Lineker. I think he's been really good on Gaza, and I've really been impressed with how he stood firm in the face. Like you see a lot of celebrities that come out sort of pro-Palestinian in the face of genocide, and then when they get hit, they fold. He stood firm.
Yeah.
He's loved in the country, and not because of his politics. And so I think he will bring us people who are beyond the sort of political realm. I think he's a good communicator. Obviously, been on TV for like 20 years. So maybe I'll give him like Foreign Office or something. But I've gone Gary.
You've now mentioned two people that I
Had
had
you
on my. Okay, let's throw in Dr. Shola.
Oh yes, yeah. She's been brought up by a couple of people that we've had on the show for like build your own cabinets and stuff.
Like legal background, can rip the right to shreds.
Yeah.
Just love her. She is a powerful voice.
Yeah.
So I love.
Very brave, like willing to.
Yeah, like she does not care, and it is horrendous, the stuff that ethnic minority people, the stuff that women have to deal with when they speak out against the right, and the fact that she's able to just keep going. That. It has so much respect to it.
Yeah, give us the names you've had so far.
I have said Daniel Sloss. I have said Dr. Shola.
And Zach Polanski.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go next, and then we'll do another round. So we've done 3 each, right? I'll go John McDonnell because I love John. On the left, I actually think John was one of the most strategically smart. Obviously, I'm close to him because he was my local MP when I was a councillor. I actually think John is an amazing media interview, by the way. I think it's underestimated how good of a media performer he is. He is very principled. Controversial opinion. This isn't a slight at Jeremy at all. I think if John had been the leader and not Jeremy, and John will kill me for saying this because he doesn't like this, but I think if John had been the leader through 2017, we would have won that general election.
Okay.
Fair.
Not a slight on Jeremy at all. Because maybe John doesn't win the leadership because maybe Jeremy was the right person at that time to win the leadership election in Labour.
So go on.
I was just going to say, John has stayed in the Labour Party even through the 2-child benefit cap stuff.
He did vote against it and have the whip withdrawn.
But I think that is interesting. I think it shows that he is potentially more committed to the party than maybe Corbyn.
And I'm still a member as well, so it makes sense why I picked him.
Yeah, so maybe that stubbornness that was often an allegation levelled against Corbyn would have been.
Yeah. So I've gone John McDonnell, Zohran Mamdani, and Dawn Butler.
I'm going to...
Wait, is that my third? No, and Gary Lineker, so I've done 4.
I'm going to take Marcus Rashford.
Nice.
Very good.
Because I want someone who is really championing kids. Because I think we have a political system at the minute that doesn't really care about young people that much. So obviously he was big on free school meals, but I also think just having him overseeing like youth wellbeing programs and being that role model for young boys, I think at a time when, as we were saying, young boys don't really have a lot. So yeah. He
did really he U-turned the government, didn't he?
That was an outstanding pick.
He's a good campaigner. So Marcus Rashford, he's mine.
So we've all done 4?
Yeah.
Do your 5th, and then you'll do your 5th, and I'll go last.
Cool.
David Tennant. Mainly because he pissed Kemi Badenoch off, and I love that he was willing
of course
to have
he
that
did.
fight.
Yeah. What was that about?
About her treatment of trans people.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I love David Tennant. I want him to be my culture secretary. Because he's a thespian, he's an actor, was Doctor Who. He's not afraid to get political. He's not afraid to take the fight for equalities to the leader of the opposition. So David Tennant.
So okay, we'll do the round off in a bit. 5th.
I want to make the youth argument. I think Issy, her username is Dumb Birch Tree on TikTok. She is an absolute warrior. In terms of just saying it like it is, basically calling out the government for what they're doing on Palestine. And she has lots and lots of young followers on TikTok, and I think she'd be really good because I think we do not have enough Gen Z in politics.
We don't actually. You're right. TikTok is a particular weak point. And you mentioned it with Farage earlier on, didn't you?
Yeah, well, Farage has like 1.5 million followers on TikTok.
How does he have that many followers? Does he do a lot of content on TikTok?
Yeah, because he's doing really, really well. I don't know what has been paid to who to push his stuff out, but he's doing really well. Like he's aiming for the same demographic that Tate's aiming for.
Yeah.
It's that 13 to 18-year-old group that basically is old enough that they're starting to maybe think about politics and the shape of the world, but young enough that they don't remember all the stuff that Nigel Farage has done, so he can present himself in news. Same the way that Katie Hopkins is doing on TikTok. She's doing well there as well,
right.
because the people that she's aiming towards don't remember all the stuff that Katie Hopkins has said.
Yeah. In fact, the far right across Europe are really capitalizing on TikTok. They're just they just jumped on it in a way that the kind of the left and the center left just didn't, because they didn't again, it was that complacency, that feeling of like what we're doing is fine, it's working really well, and just again, like the far right completely sees the
I also
space.
don't want to be conspiratorial, but who's writing those algorithms?
Oh well, exactly.
Right.
And then and then you got the techno fascists. So.
Yeah, well, you got
Yeah.
X with Elon Musk's algorithm, and then TikTok with, what is it? Is China writing the algorithm?
Yeah, but the thing is, the difficult thing with TikTok is if I go on TikTok, I see progressive stuff after progressive. That's what it's giving me. But
All I see is cats.
but I created another account just to make.
That's interesting. That's a good idea. Yeah.
And I made sure that if it was slightly right leaning, I kept watching, and I geared it. I'm only seeing the worst of the worst. And so I use that so I'm not in an echo chamber, so I can see what's being said on the other side, and it's bad. And there are lots of people there.
Right. So my last one is, so as you can tell, some of my ideas aren't entirely connected.
Who is it? Is this like?
So it's an American. I've gone for a big thinker. I've gone for the brains of the operation, Naomi Klein. So I really respect Naomi. So she's written a lot of good books. She's a big thinker, I think, on the left, particularly around economics. Because my current group has sort of personalities. It's got communicators, and I think it needed a thinker. So I've brought in Naomi Klein. So here's what we'll do. Remind us of your party name, your three policies, and
I am the Good Life Party. You didn't ask me my colours.
Oh yeah, what are your colours?
They're green because.
But different shade of green to the greens?
Well,
it doesn't matter.
It was like a sage green because I wanted it to feel kind of Nordic, like that kind of like the sort of like they love nature and stuff.
Yeah.
That Finland have got a lot of trees. But then I also wanted terracotta in there because I wanted and my vision was my thing would be like a brick with like a little green shoot growing out of it because the housing is the foundation and the green is the good life.
This is so coherent.
Thank
this
you.
is crazy.
And then I've been thinking about it for some time. And then my policies are 4-day working week, a mass council house building, and a joy dividend. And my people are Angela Rayner, Grace Blakely, Marcus Rashford, Louis Theroux, and David Tennant.
I'll go next, and then you can go last, Femi. So my party is the New Deal. Colours are purple. We've gone for universal basic services, so that's free local transport, healthcare, broadband, and access to democracy. Rent controls, so limiting rent controls to about 30% of income, and overturning VAR. And my 5 politicians that are going to go out and sell this to the country and lead us into the new millennium is John McDonnell, Zohran Memdani, Gary Lineker, Naomi Klein, and Dawn Butler.
Okay, I am from the Fair Party, supposedly, and my colours are yellow and black. My 3 policies are anonymous CVs, rejoin the EU, and a fair voting system, a proportional voting system. My politicians are Zach Polanski, Dr. Shola, Daniel Sloss, Izzy from TikTok, Dumb Birch Tree, and I don't think I actually have a 5th.
Oh,
you did do a 5th, didn't you? Or if not, you can have 4. And you snooze, you lose. Okay, so this is how we're going to end the episode. we're each going to look into camera, and for 30 seconds, we're going to pitch to the audience why they should vote for our party, and then it's going to go to a vote by our viewers, right? Who wants to go first?
Not me.
Oh, should I go first?
Yeah.
I'll go first. Okay. People of this country, brothers and sisters, friends, colleagues, enemies. Our country needs big ideas. The days of tinkering around the edges, of fiddling with the numbers are over. We need big ideas and big thinkers to lead us into the new generation. The politics of old has failed us, and the New Deal Party is offering you the next generation of political ideas. We love the colour purple. We're going to bring you universal basic services. We're going to transform our productivity, our economy, and really tackle inequality that exists in our society. We're going to implement the most radical rent controls across the country to make sure that the roofs over your heads are affordable and that everyone has access to housing. And we're going to overturn one of the biggest drivers of depression and anger in this country, and that's video assistant refereeing in football. And the people who are going to champion this, who are going to implement this, who are going to change your lives are Zohran Mamdani, John McDonnell, Gary Lineker, Naomi Klein, and Dawn Butler, and we are here to serve.
Okay. For too long, shareholders have been asking what this country can do for them rather than what they can do for this country. Working people are working harder for less and less. People no longer have a good life. They can barely afford to heat their homes, put food on the table, or provide for their family. Meanwhile, the rich are getting richer and the politicians are asking them what more they want to continue lining their pockets. The Good Life Party will change all of that. We are going to change how politics works fundamentally. No longer will it be about gross domestic product, but about gross domestic joy. We're going to ask how we can make your life better. We're going to give you the foundations of a good life, a home for everyone, more free time to spend with your family and the people you love, community spaces that you can actually enjoy and rest in. Meanwhile, we're going to make sure that businesses are paying their share to make that community better and work for all of you. Joy isn't frivolous, it's foundational, and that's why you workers of Great Britain deserve a good life.
Nicely done.
Did you write?
No,
Yeah, it feels like
no,
you
I
wrote
didn't.
that.
Fucking hell. I haven't won this, Femi. I think I'm coming first. Your 30 seconds, go.
Britain isn't fair. Right now, people in the UK are experiencing the worst cost of living crisis we've ever seen in a generation. Half of low-income families are skipping meals to feed their kids. That shouldn't happen. The UK has the highest levels of financial inequality among the most economically advanced countries in the world. Why is that? Why is it okay that somebody who is working just as hard as you is earning 20 times your salary? That must change. And one of the barriers to that is the fact that we have an employment system that cherry picks the people that already come from wealth. It cherry picks the people that already come from privilege. That's why I think there should be anonymous CVs. We have a system that is still beholden to the Brexit messes and lies of 2016, even though, according to the Bank of England, it's taking £1,000 from the average household every single year. Why is this happening? Why are the rich still getting richer while you are struggling? That's why the Fair Party is created. We are going to go back into the EU. We're going to deliver a fair voting system so that your vote counts just as much as everybody else's. Because right now we're not a democracy. And the reason why that these decisions keep being made that make you poorer is because your vote isn't counting right now. So vote for us. Right now we're going to be championed by people like Daniel Sloss so that we can actually say what needs to be said without being scared of being politically insensitive. We're gonna have people like Izzy from TikTok. We're gonna have Dr. Shulla, so we can say fuck you to all the racists who are now storming around our country. And we're gonna have Zach Polanski, a successful politician who is now leading the Green Party, so fighting the climate crisis while also being a Jewish opposer to the genocide happening in Gaza. That is the sort of leadership that we need in this country. Vote for the Fair Party.
Very good. That was fun.
God, all of you have my vote.
Do you know what it is? When isn't it really depressing that none of these ideas will ever see the light of day? Well, not on the first past the post, maybe under proportional representation.
PR, the momentum is gathering.
Yeah.
I think.
The problem with PR, don't you think, is a little bit like no one who wins under this system is ever going to change the system. That's what's most depressing about PR. Right? Although Reform have said
that's why for me it's all about getting Andy Burnham in, because he's been huge on that, and he doesn't need to like, I think he's entering Westminster politics for the purpose of changing Westminster politics.
Yeah.
Do you think that if the Reform threat continued to grow, Labour could do a deal with the Lib Dems and the Greens in return for a vote?
Oh, before the next general election.
Or after they win.
So I've been saying this, like, what was it? December 27th of December 2019 was when I put out my video saying the only way we fix this is if Labour, Lib Dems and the Greens do a pact based on electoral reform.
Yeah.
That's the only way out of this.
Out of Reform nightmare.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Listen. First of all, we're going to put this to a vote. So head over to our Instagram account and you can vote on our social media, and you can vote for which party you prefer, or put it in the comments below. So tell us which party you would vote for. Leave a comment. Like the video. Femi, they all know where you are on socials. You know where Zoe is on socials. You can follow me on socials as well and keep up to date with the show. Subscribe to the channel. We've got so much more amazing content coming your way. Femi, thanks so much for coming, man. This was fun.
Me.
Yeah.
We really enjoyed it. Zoe, they can keep up with us on the next episode of the Politics of Podcast. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Politics of Podcast. I've been Ali Milani.
And I'm Zoe Greenewald.